I hate being the crotchety old man here, but sometimes I can't help but reminisce. And sometimes my mind just kind of wanders, and it wanders back into the past, back when I grew up. And one of the big things I think about all the time, and I'm sure if you're from the older generation, I would say prior to the 2000s, if that's the time period you grew up or before that, you can relate to what I'm about to say. But back in those days, everything was tangible. I would say everything was much more colorful. Everything had more meaning. And there were a lot of things that you could just kind of hold in your hand. And to me, the things that you can hold in your hand, the tangible stuff, the paper things, they do have more meaning. Because this new world that we're all trapped in, everything is fake. And that's the big point here, is that I've kind of started to notice, the more I think about our past, that everything today is basically fake. There's nothing real anymore. There's nothing tangible. And I think as society progresses, we're almost being forced into that corner. Into the corner that it won't be long before there is nothing real. And you know, sometimes I get on YouTube and I'm watching videos, and most of the time I try to watch productive stuff that's going to kind of better me in life. But sometimes, just like everybody else, I fall down these rabbit holes. And sometimes the algorithm kind of knows me. It knows that, I guess it knows I think about the 80s and 90s, but it shows me videos from those time periods. And I saw some high school, I think it was like the last day of high school, near graduation. And they were videotaping the 90s, the 2000s, the early 2000s. And everything just looked so amazing. The people were so outgoing. Everybody was polite. They were getting along. They were hanging out. Nobody had their face stuck in their phones, obviously, because phones weren't a thing back then. And it honestly just felt like a different world. Even when you see it on video, it feels like a different world. And one of the comments in that video, one of the ones I watched, the person said, "Silly, if it wasn't for social media, you wouldn't be able to view this." As if social media is a great thing because we can view how things were in the past. But here's the thing. If it weren't for social media, we wouldn't have to view it in the past because we'd be living it. We'd still be in that time frame. We'd be in that era. And things would be so much better. Everybody would probably be living that same way. They'd be getting along. They'd be polite with one another. Everybody would be very outgoing. Everybody just seemed like they had more energy. Everybody looked healthier. There was a spark in their eyes. And looking back at my life, I remember that. I remember that spark that everybody had, and now it seems that that spark is dying. And I often wonder to myself, is it dying because we no longer live in a real society? Nothing's tangible anymore. That paper world that we grew up in and that we remember has largely gone away. And this isn't just talking about technology and social media. I'm talking about everything's getting fake. When you're talking about the dating world, men and women specifically, I'm not trying to call anybody out here, but women specifically, this is kind of a bad thing because society targets women and they make them believe that they have to dress up and put on this appearance that society tells them society wants, if that makes sense. That society tells women that men want you a certain way, and that way is usually all dolled up. All the makeup, and then the plastic surgery, and the lip filler, that's gotten really bad. The fake eyebrows, the dyed hair, the fake implants up here and down below, pretty much everywhere where you can implant stuff, people are getting that. And not only does it come at a massive health risk to the woman, because a lot of this stuff they put in and on their skin is toxic, but in my opinion, it takes away the beauty of the woman, the natural beauty of the woman. Because in my opinion, when you get away from what society tells you women should look like, and you stop watching erotic content and all this stuff, you're going to find that women are beautiful naturally. And they mask that. And they actually do a detriment to their looks. They do a detriment to their actual natural beauty. And we see this in celebrities all the time, because you'll have the most gorgeous celebrity that everybody's pawning over. And next thing you know, they're getting plastic surgery and they're completely ruining their body. And they don't even look like a person anymore. They look like an alien. And that's a very sad thing. And again, I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad or put anybody down. I think it's just very important to understand and realize what society and what social media and what this fake world is doing to people. And it doesn't stop with just women, because it's bleeding into the male aspect as well. You think about male body standards. The fact of the matter is, most males today, I think it's like 70% of males are considered overweight or obese. So the bar is actually set pretty low. But when you think about the standards that society places on men and tells them they should look like, it's not even about being fit anymore. It's not even about being a bodybuilder. It's about being a massive muscle-bound freak. And that's what a lot of these young kids are doing now. They're taking steroids at like 14, 15 years old. And they're completely wrecking their endocrine system, their hormones, for the rest of their lives. I mean, at that point in your life, you have all the testosterone you need. You don't need to rely on drugs. But people are doing it because that's what society is telling us that we need to look like. And it's all fake, because the moment you stop doing all these things and you stop taking the drugs, or you stop putting all this stuff in and on your skin, all that goes away. That fake persona that you've built for yourself just disappeared. Because especially for men, when you have built a physique that is well above the top 1% of basically all the people on the planet, and you've done that through taking performance enhancing drugs, the moment you stop, you're not going to be able to maintain that physique. So you're relying on that for your entire life. And if you've already built your identity around that, which most people do, men and women, all that goes away. You just shattered your entire identity. Who you are as a person just goes away. And then where does that leave you? It leaves you feeling like nothing. You're worthless, because the person that you created was fake. It wasn't even you. And now you're left with this empty shell, a fragment of the person that you were before. But it's important to understand that because all this is fake and our modern world is vastly just made up, that when these things go away, you're still you. You're still the person that you always were. It's just that you buried that person. You buried that person beneath a false persona that you created. So to get back to the person that you were, all you have to do is shed all that stuff. And you can 100% get back to that. And I think that not only can we get back to being more tangible ourselves and more real ourselves, we can create that reality around ourselves. And that's honestly just as simple as getting rid of all this fake stuff. All the stuff that society tells us we should be chasing. All these norms and these societal standards, we just need to ditch this stuff and get back to the basics. Realize and understand that we're all beautiful in our own way, naturally. We don't need all this enhancement and we don't need to take these steroids, and we don't need to put all this stuff on our skin. In some cases, if doing some of these things, not taking performance enhancing drugs, but wearing makeup and simple stuff, wearing nice clothes, things like that, if that makes you feel better about yourself, by all means do it. And this is a personal choice anyway. Everybody has to forge their own path when it comes to this, but I think we actually need to step back and take the time to think about, are these the things that are actually going to make you feel better about yourself? Or are we just falling victim to this fake society, to these societal norms, to all these pressures that we all feel? Because it can be very easy to get caught up in the idea that these things are somehow going to make our lives better, that somehow all this comfort is improving our lives. But what if it's the opposite? What if all this comfort and all these illusions, all this fake stuff around us, not existing in the real tangible world, what if that's actually hindering us? What if it's detrimental? And what if improving our lives and improving our situations and feeling better about ourselves is as simple as getting back to the basics, getting back to the tangible world, the things that are real, existing in the present moment, being grateful for being able to be in the present moment and getting joy from that, experiencing living life, doing the thing, being happy with who you are as a person, and knowing that there are ways that you can improve that without altering your body, without making these changes and turning yourself into a fake person, without creating this alter ego and creating this fake persona and trapping yourself in that. What if by foregoing all this fake stuff and getting back to the simpler, tangible ways of doing things is the thing that is actually going to ground us and is going to make us realize that we're fine the way we are. We don't need to change all this stuff. We don't need all these comforts. Comfort is all around us. We just have to stop and take the time to smell the roses. We got to look around and realize that all the things in life that we need, all the important things, they're already here. And they've been here our entire lives. We've just been too distracted by all this other stuff, by all this fake stuff, to pay attention to it. And maybe by drowning out the noise and focusing on that simple stuff, that's the easiest way to pay attention to it. That's the easiest way to get back to the nostalgic period. The period that a lot of us are yearning for and longing for. The period that most of us left behind. And the period that most of us buried. And that period that most of us buried, I think we've also kind of buried a part of ourselves. But if we can uncover that and get back to that, maybe that will also reconnect us with that part of ourselves that we buried. And I can say that from my own personal experience, I've been actively trying to bring certain aspects of the past back into my current life. To bring some of these hard assets and the simpler ways of doing things back into my current reality. And it seems like the further I get away from this fake world and all these lies and all these illusions that are around us, the further I get away from that and the closer I get to the old ways of doing things, the paper world, the more free I feel, the happier I feel, the more fulfilled I am, the more at peace I am with not only my situation, my surroundings, but with myself. And it seems like the more purpose I have in life, because to me, those are the things that are meaningful. And when you really drill this down and tie it all back, it actually ties back into genuine connection. The fact that things actually were more vibrant back in the day. People had more energy. They were more outgoing. And maybe all that is because we existed in that paper world, the tangible, real world. And we weren't surrounded by all this fake noise.